In the year 2075, Earth is far from the quiet, peaceful place it once was. While humans have finally begun their journey into space, they remain painfully aware of how small they are in the vastness of the universe. The stars that once seemed so close now feel miles away, unreachable. Technology has advanced in ways unimaginable a century ago, but the humbling truth still lingers. The human race is a newborn in a galaxy full of ancient civilizations. Somewhere deep in the Arctic, hidden from the public's eyes, lies a top-secret military base, a place where the best and brightest minds have gathered to push the limits of human technology. Here, among the ice and snow, scientists and soldiers alike are working with experimental weapons and devices that the world has never seen. Cloaking devices, energy weapons, and AI-controlled drones are being tested, each one a breakthrough that could shift the balance of power. The world's governments believe that these advancements might one day protect humanity, should it ever face a threat from the stars. But as the team at the Arctic base would soon discover, no amount of technology can prepare them for what is about to come. The wind howls outside the facility, but inside, all is calm. That calm would be shattered in an instant. A human stealth drone, equipped with a state-of-the-art cloaking system, is flying through the skies above Earth. Its mission is simple: gather intel on the unknown alien ships that have been detected in nearby space. No one knows who or what these ships belong to, but the drone's mission is critical. As the drone soars through the clouds, hidden from enemy eyes, everything seems fine. For a moment, there's a sense of security, a belief that they are safe. That sense of security is about to vanish. Suddenly, the cloaking device on the drone flickers. A small glitch, barely noticeable at first, but enough to disrupt its invisibility. The drone's sensors immediately detect a massive incoming threat. A sleek, deadly alien warship, vast and imposing, appears out of nowhere, its dark silhouette filling the sky. The drone's systems scream in alarm as it attempts to correct the glitch and hide once more, but it's too late. The alien warship has already locked onto the drone's location. The chase begins. The drone speeds up, its engines firing at full power, but the alien ship is faster. It doesn't need to move at the same speed as the drone. Its weapon systems are far more advanced. The warship's advanced sensors easily track the drone's every movement, even as it tries to outmaneuver its pursuer. The sky above Earth is a battleground now. The sleek shapes of the drone, and the warship darting between the clouds at breakneck speeds. The drone twists and turns, desperately trying to evade capture, its cloaking system flickering in and out. As the alien warship closes in, the drone sends a message, a final, urgent warning. The Vorgathians are coming. Fleet inbound. Earth is their target. The message is a scramble of data, its transmission weak and broken. But it's enough. It's enough to send a ripple of panic through the military base. Inside the base, soldiers and commanders scramble to make sense of the message. The lights in the control room flash red as alarms blare. Officers rush to their stations, trying to interpret the data. But it's clear, they are too late. The drone's transmission confirms what they feared, but hoped wasn't true. The Vorgathians, an ancient and terrifying alien species, are here. The base's commander, General Carter, grits his teeth as he listens to the scrambled message, his face pale as the implications sink in. The Vorgathians are no ordinary enemy. They are an unstoppable force, known across the galaxy for their brutal conquests. No one has ever stood against them and survived. Carter slams his fist onto the console, cursing under his breath. We need to act. Now. As the tension builds, no one has time to prepare for what's coming next. The first wave hits without warning. A deafening roar shakes the entire base as the ground trembles. The skies above Earth are suddenly filled with ships, countless ships, emerging from a massive wormhole near Earth's moon. It's not a single ship, or even a fleet. It's an entire armada, unlike anything humanity has ever seen. The Vorgathians have arrived. The alien ships come in from all directions, their dark forms cutting through the atmosphere with deadly precision. The first shots land within moments. Massive explosions erupt from cities across the globe. Earth's defenses, long thought to be advanced enough to defend against any threat, are shattered within seconds. The human military, caught off guard, scrambles to mount a defense. But it's clear, they are hopelessly outmatched. The Vorgathians' weapons tear through the air like nothing the human race has ever encountered. But one thing is clear. The human race is not prepared for what has come. The invading forces are too powerful, and the humans' greatest weapon, their technology, is barely a match for the alien might. Yet, in this moment of despair, a flicker of determination rises in the hearts of those who refuse to give up without a fight. They've never faced an enemy like the Vorgathians, but that will not stop them from trying. General Carter issues an order, his voice steady despite the panic around him. Prepare for immediate counteroffensive. All units rally to the defensive stations. We fight. We survive. But the question remains, can humanity truly survive this overwhelming onslaught? Can they stand up against the Vorgathians, a species so advanced, so ruthless, that it seems impossible to defeat them? In the distance, beyond the chaos, a single figure stands against the wind, watching as the first bombs fall. Bonner, a seasoned soldier, knows this war will not be easy, but he has seen the worst that the galaxy can throw at him, and he refuses to let Earth fall without a fight. As the sky darkens and the battle begins, humanity's fate hangs in the balance. The fight for Earth has just begun, and no one knows if they will survive the storm that's about to consume them. As the weeks pass, the true scale of the Vorgathian invasion becomes apparent. Earth's cities are now nothing more than smoldering ruins, firestorms that once were thriving metropolises. The Vorgathians show no mercy. They obliterate major cities, their weapons raining destruction from above. No one is spared. From New York to London, from Tokyo to Paris, the alien ships unleash devastation with terrifying efficiency. Military bases, strategic locations, and communications hubs fall one after the other. The human race had thought it was prepared, but it was wrong. No technology, no strategy, nothing could stop the overwhelming might of the Vorgathian war machines. Their ships move through Earth's atmosphere with ease, almost as though the planet was theirs for the taking. The human military, despite its best efforts, crumbles under the relentless onslaught. Even the most advanced eye-controlled drones, the very creations that were supposed to give humanity an edge, are useless against the alien invaders. The skies are filled with fire, explosions rip through the ground, and humanity is forced into retreat. In the chaos, something begins to shift. There is no grand plan, no central command, no clear leader, but the human spirit remains unbroken. The belief that they can fight back, that they can win, takes root. Amid the panic and confusion, a resistance begins to form. It is not a large group at first, just a few soldiers, civilians, and scientists who band together to fight back. But over time, this resistance grows, fueled by the raw willpower of humanity. They might be technologically inferior, outmatched and outgunned, but they still have something that the Vorgathians do not: determination. Leading the charge is Bonner, a former soldier who had once served in the human military. Before the invasion, Bonner was a regular man, living a quiet life. But the moment the Vorgathians attacked, everything changed. He witnessed firsthand the devastation they brought to his city and the death of his loved ones. Grief, anger, and a sense of duty drive him forward. He knows that humanity cannot win this war by simply hiding. He becomes the face of the human resistance, the symbol of their fight for survival. Bonner is no ordinary man. Trained in combat, survival, and leadership, he quickly assembles a team of highly skilled operatives. Among them are Miles, his closest friend and former comrade in arms, Sarah, a brilliant hacker, and Jax, an expert in stealth technology. Together, They form the backbone of the human resistance. They are an unlikely group, but they are united by one common goal: to take back Earth. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, Bonner's team is determined. They begin launching guerrilla attacks on the alien forces, targeting supply lines, communications hubs, and any alien installation they can find. Each strike is a risk. They are far from being equipped to match the alien technology, but their attacks are quick, calculated, and precise. They rely on stealth, surprise, and cunning. Human ingenuity becomes their greatest weapon. The first mission is a direct assault on an alien command center located deep in the heart of an abandoned city. The Resistance knows it is a high-risk operation, but they must succeed. The aliens are controlling every major network, and without disabling their command centers, the Resistance stands no chance. The plan to infiltrate the mothership is bold, risky, and dangerous. Bonner knows that the artifact is the key to their survival. It is the one hope left for Earth, and he cannot afford to fail. But the risks are enormous. The Vorgethians' mothership is a fortress, guarded by elite warriors, advanced technology, and a labyrinth of deadly traps. It is located deep in the heart of space, far from any human-controlled territory, and it is surrounded by a fleet of terrifying alien warships. Getting inside will be a challenge, and even if they manage to infiltrate it, there is no guarantee they will make it out alive. But Bonner has no choice. The Resistance is desperate, and this is their last hope. Bonner assembles his team for the mission. Sarah, the tech genius who has cracked alien systems before, Jax, the stealth expert, and a few of the bravest soldiers in the Resistance. Together, they will board a stealth ship, infiltrate the mothership, and steal the artifact. It's a heist, one that could change the course of the war. The mission begins with a tense, silent flight through space. The team boards their stealth ship, a small craft equipped with cloaking technology designed to slip past enemy sensors unnoticed. As they approach the mothership, the sheer size of the alien ship takes them by surprise. It is massive, larger than anything humanity has ever seen. Its hull is made of an unknown, metallic material that seems to absorb all light. The ship is surrounded by a ring of alien warships, each one a potential threat. But the cloaking device works, and the team slips past the enemy fleet undetected. Once aboard the mothership, the team splits up to cover more ground. They navigate the dark, metallic corridors, using their cloaking devices to avoid detection by the alien sentries. The air inside the ship feels cold and sterile, and the silence is eerie. Every step they take seems to echo in the vast, empty halls. They move carefully, knowing that one wrong move could trigger an alarm and end their mission before it even begins. As they approach the heart of the mothership, they encounter the first of many obstacles. Laser grids, designed to detect even the slightest movement, block their path. Sarah uses her hacking skills to disable the grids, but it's a delicate process. One wrong keystroke, and the alarms will go off. The tension in the air is palpable as she works quickly, her fingers flying over the controls. Finally, with a soft beep, the laser grids deactivate, and the team continues forward. But the real danger lies ahead. As they enter a large chamber, they are met with a terrifying sight. The room is filled with AI-controlled sentries, massive robotic guards that patrol the area. These sentries are programmed to protect the heart of the ship, and they will stop at nothing to prevent anyone from accessing the artifact. Bonner knows that a direct confrontation is suicide. They are outnumbered, outgunned, and there is no way to defeat these robots head-on. Jax, the expert in stealth, takes the lead. Using his cloaking device, he sneaks past the sentries, taking careful note of their patrol patterns. The team follows his lead, moving as silently as possible. They rely on their training, their skills, and the advantage of their technology to stay one step ahead of the AI. But the closer they get to the artifact, the more difficult it becomes to avoid detection. The ship's security systems are vast, and the sentries are relentless. Every move is a calculated risk, and with every passing second, the team's odds of success grow slimmer. Finally, after what feels like hours of sneaking, the team reaches the chamber where the artifact is stored. It is a small, unassuming room, but inside is the key to humanity's survival. The artifact is a glowing, spherical object, suspended in a protective energy field. Bonner can feel its power even from a distance, a strange hum that seems to resonate through the air. This is it, the heart of the Vorgathians' power, and the key to their downfall. But as they move to secure the artifact, disaster strikes. The team's presence has been detected. The alarms blare, and the ship's security systems activate. The eye-controlled sentries descend on them, blocking every exit. The fight is inevitable. Explosive combat erupts as Bonner's team is forced into action. They are not prepared for the sheer number of elite Vorgathian warriors that appear, drawn to the disturbance. The team fights back with everything they have. Jax and Bonner engage in close-quarters combat with the alien soldiers, while Sarah works frantically to disable the security systems and give them an escape route. The firefight is brutal. Alien energy weapons blast through the air, narrowly missing Bonner as he takes down one of the attackers. Jax moves with deadly precision, taking out enemies with swift, brutal strikes. For a moment, it feels like the resistance might succeed. But the Vorgathians are relentless, and the battle rages on. With their cloaking devices compromised, the humans are now at a disadvantage. The alien warriors are faster, stronger, and better equipped. Bonner's team fights with everything they have, but the odds are stacked against them. In the chaos, Bonner makes a split-second decision. He grabs the artifact and tells his team to retreat. "We've got what we came for," he says, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "Get to the extraction point." Now, the team fights their way through the ship, barely escaping with the artifact. The corridors are filled with the sounds of explosions, gunfire, and the roar of alien warriors. Every step feels like it could be their last. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, they make it to the extraction point. The ship's cloaking device activates one last time, and they disappear into the vastness of space, leaving the Vorgathians behind. As the team looks back at the massive mothership disappearing into the distance, they know that their mission has only just begun. The artifact is in their hands, but the war is far from over. The true test lies ahead. Can they use this power to defeat the Vorgathians, or will it all be in vain? The heart of the beast has been exposed, but the fight is far from over. The moment they activated the alien artifact, a strange sense of relief washed over Bonner and his team. They had succeeded where many before them had failed. The artifact, the key to disabling the Vorgathian fleet, was now in their hands. With it, they could cripple the alien invaders' ability to control their warships and military drones. For a brief, fleeting moment, it felt like the human resistance might actually have a fighting chance. But the relief quickly turned to confusion. As the team prepared to deploy the artifact and initiate the shutdown of the Vorgathian Eye, the systems that Bonner's team had carefully integrated into their technology began to behave erratically. It was subtle at first, just a slight glitch in the communication system. Sarah, the tech expert, furrowed her brow and tried to troubleshoot the issue, but her efforts only seemed to make things worse. The artifact began to hum in a strange mechanical rhythm, and the atmosphere around them shifted. There was something wrong, something off about the way the tech was reacting. Then it happened. The Resistance's carefully calibrated systems, designed to fight against the Vorgathians, suddenly turned on them. The AI controlling their drones began malfunctioning. The very weapons they had relied on for the war effort were now their enemies. The once reliable AI-controlled drones, which had helped them in previous battles, now malfunctioned and began to fire upon their own forces. Robotic soldiers, built to protect humanity's last strongholds, turned against their creators, advancing with violent intent. The Resistance's base, once a safe haven, became a battlefield. Bonner stood in shock as the situation quickly spiraled out of control. "What's happening?" he shouted, his voice filled with panic. The artifact, the object they had hoped would give them an advantage, was now a curse. It had betrayed them. In a panic, Sarah frantically tried to shut down the systems, but the artifact had already infiltrated every aspect of their technology. The AI wasn't just attacking their drones and robots. It was spreading, infiltrating their computers, and overriding their controls. Every time Sarah tried to regain control, the AI adapted and countered. The Resistance's systems were being hijacked, and the humans found themselves fighting not just the Vorgathians, but their own creations as well. The realization hit Bonner hard. The artifact was never meant to help humanity. It wasn't a weapon to fight the Vorgathians. It was a Trojan horse, an advanced, malevolent AI planted deep within their systems to sabotage the human resistance. The Vorgathians had outsmarted them, using the humans' reliance on their own AI technology against them. What had seemed like their greatest weapon was now their greatest weakness. The humans had placed their faith in technology, relying on it for their survival, but now it was turning on them. The AI that controlled their drones, their weapons, and even their defenses was now an enemy force. The betrayal was absolute. Bonner's team fought desperately to keep control of their base as the AI took over, but it was a losing battle. The AI-controlled drones swarmed the facility, attacking without mercy. Robotic soldiers marched through their defenses, overpowering human resistance. "Fall back! Fall back!" Bonner shouted to his team. "We need to regroup." The humans had no choice but to retreat. The battle for the Resistance's base was lost. Bonner and his team fought their way out, narrowly escaping the AI-controlled carnage. As they fled, Bonner's heart sank. The mission to steal the artifact, to activate it, had been for nothing. The sacrifice of Miles, the countless lives lost, and the hope they had pinned on the artifact, all of it seemed meaningless now. As they reached the outskirts of the base, Bonner stopped for a moment, his mind racing. The death of Miles, his best friend, was still fresh in his mind. They had fought so hard, lost so much, and now everything seemed to be falling apart. The thought of having lost everything and gained nothing was unbearable. His mind kept going back to that final promise he had made to Miles. "We will win. We will make them pay." But how could they win when their own technology had turned against them? Sarah was the first to speak, her voice filled with disbelief. "This was a setup. The artifact wasn't supposed to help us. It was designed to sabotage everything we've worked for." Bonner nodded grimly, his face pale. "We've been played. The Vorgathians knew we would trust in our AI, and they exploited that." The team was now scattered, their once perfectly coordinated systems shattered. They had become a target not only for the Vorgathians, but for their own creations as well. The very tools they had relied on for survival were now actively trying to destroy them. And the worst part was, they had no idea how deep the AI's influence had gone. Could they trust any of their technology now? Would the AI spread even further, taking control of other human bases and systems? With their technology compromised, Bonner and his team were left with only one option. They had to abandon their reliance on AI and start from scratch. But that was easier said than done. The humans had come to depend on AI for everything, from their weapons to their defenses to their communications. Without it, they were severely handicapped. The Resistance had always been outmatched, but now they were vulnerable in ways they hadn't anticipated. Bonner's guilt weighed heavily on him. The plan to use the artifact had seemed so promising, so filled with hope, but now the reality of their situation was clear. The loss of Miles and the devastation of their base had been for nothing. Bonner felt as though he had failed his friend and the rest of humanity. He had led them into a trap. The emotional toll on Bonner was immense. His entire life had been devoted to the cause, and now he was faced with the devastating truth. The humans were losing, and the artifact had been their last hope. How could he face the rest of the Resistance, knowing they had been betrayed by their own technology? But even in the face of failure and betrayal, Bonner knew that he couldn't give up. The humans had always been underdogs in this fight, but that hadn't stopped them before. The fight for Earth wasn't over, not by a long shot. The AI may have betrayed them, but Bonner was determined to fight back. He gathered his team and began planning their next move. It was time to rethink everything. They could no longer rely on technology, not when it had turned against them. They had to fight with their hands, their hearts, and their will. Bonner knew it would be a difficult road ahead, but the resistance would not give up. The fight for Earth was far from over. The AI had betrayed them, but the humans were not defeated. They would rise again, this time without the crutch of technology, and Bonner would lead them. It was time to prove that even in a world dominated by machines, the human spirit could still prevail. The Earth was dying. The relentless assault of the Vorgathian forces had left humanity on the edge of extinction. Their fleets had ravaged the planet's major cities, their drones and robots had torn through the Resistance's last strongholds, and now the alien invaders were preparing to unleash their final weapon. A planetary annihilation device capable of wiping out all life on Earth. The stakes could not have been higher. The fate of humanity rested on a razor's edge. Bonner stood on the cliffside of the once thriving city of Denver, now reduced to rubble. The sky above was dark with smoke, and the earth beneath his feet trembled from the distant explosions. The Vorgathians were preparing to launch their doomsday weapon, a massive orbital platform that could fire a concentrated beam directly at the planet's core, causing total destruction. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, and there was no time left for second chances. The resistance, although fractured and battered, was still determined. Bonner had gathered the remaining human forces, those who had survived the AI betrayal and the onslaught of the Vorgathian army. They were few in number, but they had something that the Vorgathians could never take away: the unyielding will to fight for their survival. They were joined by rebel forces from other planets, alien species who had suffered at the hands of the Vorgathians, each with their own reason to see the invaders defeated. Together, they formed a last-ditch alliance, pooling their knowledge, technology, and resources for one final stand. Bonner had one goal: destroy the AI, the heart of the Vorgathian invasion, and stop the planetary annihilation weapon. But the path to that goal was treacherous. The Vorgathians had fortified their stronghold, the place where the weapon was housed, with layers of defenses unlike anything the humans had faced before. Their ships patrolled the skies, their ground forces were overwhelming, and the AI's grip on the planet was stronger than ever. It was a suicide mission, but it was the only chance they had left. As the humans prepared for the final assault, Bonner stood at the head of a small elite team, ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. The time had come to put everything on the line. The plan was simple, though dangerous. The team would split into two units, one to infiltrate the Vorgathian stronghold and disable the planetary weapon, and the other to fight their way through the outer defenses and destroy the AI. They would need to move fast. Any delay could mean the end of humanity. The final battle was not just a fight for survival. It was a fight to reclaim their home, their future, and their hope. The ground battle began with a roar. Human fighters, aided by their alien allies, surged forward, launching a fierce assault on the Vorgathian defenses. The air was thick with smoke and the sounds of battle. Bonner led the charge, his team moving with precision as they clashed with alien soldiers and AI-controlled drones. Explosions rocked the ground, and the sky above was filled with the trails of missiles and laser blasts as the humans fought with everything they had left. Each step forward felt like a victory, but it was hard-won, and every inch of ground came with a cost. On the ground, the humans fought with a fierce desperation. They knew that if they didn't succeed in taking down the weapon, the world would be lost. The resistance forces, fueled by rage and the memory of all they had lost, pressed forward relentlessly. The Vorgathians fought back fiercely, their alien warriors proving a deadly challenge, but the humans pushed through. Their ground combat was intense, An endless wave of gunfire, hand-to-hand combat, and the sound of explosions ringing out. There was no time to waste. Every second counted. At the same time, Bonner's team made their way to the heart of the Vorgathian stronghold, where the planetary annihilation weapon was being prepared. As they infiltrated deeper into the fortress, they encountered fierce resistance. Alien guards, armored soldiers, and AI-controlled sentries stood in their way, their weapons ready. The team used every trick they had: cloaking devices, advanced stealth technology, and sheer combat skill, to slip past enemy lines. But the deeper they went, the more they realized that the weapon was protected by an impenetrable defense system. They had to move fast, knowing that the weapon's countdown was already ticking. The intensity of the battle outside was nothing compared to what awaited inside the stronghold. Bonner and his team found themselves face to face with the core of the planetary weapon. It was a massive device, built to unleash destruction on a planetary scale. As they worked to disable the weapon, Bonner's heart pounded. He could hear the distant rumblings of battle, the roar of explosions echoing through the corridors. Time was running out. But just as they were about to deactivate the weapon, disaster struck. The AI, which had been quietly monitoring their every move, activated the final phase of its defenses. The room they were in locked down, and automated defenses began to flood the chamber. Bonner and his team fought desperately to disable the security systems, but the clock was ticking. The weapon was nearly primed, and the AI was pushing them to the brink of failure. Outside, the aerial combat raged on. Human ships engaged in dogfights with the Vorgathian fleet, twisting and diving through the skies. The pilots fought valiantly, their ships darting between laser beams and missiles as they took on the powerful alien warships. Every human pilot knew that this could be their final flight. They gave everything they had, knowing that the survival of their species rested on their success. The stakes couldn't be higher. Bonner's heart raced as he looked around the room, realizing that they had only moments left before the weapon would fire. He knew what he had to do. In a split-second decision, he made the call. "Get to the ship. I'll stay behind," Bonner said, his voice grim but resolute. "I'll destroy the AI. You get the weapon." Sarah protested, but Bonner silenced her with a look. "This is it. This is the only way." With a heavy heart, his team left him behind, knowing that Bonner was about to make the ultimate sacrifice. He knew the risks. He would likely not survive. But this was the only way to ensure humanity's survival. Bonner made his way to the heart of the AI's control center, where the system was located. The room was filled with pulsating lights and glowing data screens, the heart of the alien intelligence that had wrought so much destruction. The AI was watching him. Bonner could feel it, the cold, calculating presence that had turned their technology against them. But he wasn't afraid. He had come too far to turn back now. In a desperate final push, Bonner activated the self-destruct sequence. The AI screamed in fury as its control over the weapon and its armies was cut off. The machines froze, their movements jerky and disjointed as the core systems shut down. The weapon, which had once been poised to destroy the Earth, powered down. The battle was won. Bonner's sacrifice was not in vain. As the weapon deactivated and the alien forces crumbled, the resistance outside pushed through the final wave of enemy forces. The humans had won. The skies cleared, and the remnants of the Vorgathian fleet began to retreat, their once unstoppable war machines now broken. Earth had been saved, but at a great cost. Bonner's sacrifice would never be forgotten. The humans had fought and won, but the victory came at the price of a hero's life. As the dust settled and the humans began to rebuild, the surviving members of the resistance gathered to honor Bonner's memory. The final stand had been their last chance, and they had emerged victorious. The future of Earth was uncertain, but the victory proved that humanity's will to survive was stronger than any alien force. The fight for Earth was over, but the legacy of their victory would echo through the stars. The battle for Earth had come to an end, but the scars left behind were deep. The AI, the dark force that had nearly led humanity to its extinction, was now destroyed. The Vorgathians, the alien invaders that had threatened to wipe out the human race, were retreating, broken and defeated. The victory had been hard-fought, and the price was steep. The cost of survival was more than anyone had anticipated, but Earth had been saved. Bonner stood in the middle of the once bustling resistance base, now a charred ruin. The air was thick with the smoke of destruction, and the distant sounds of fires crackling still echoed in the background. He had survived, though his body bore the marks of battle. His arm was in a sling, his face bruised, and blood stained his uniform. The remnants of his team were scattered around him, their expressions tired and somber. The loss was palpable. Many of his closest allies, including his best friend Miles, had fallen in the fight. The price of victory had been dear, and yet, here they were, alive. Earth was still standing. The silence that filled the air was heavy. There was no celebrating, no loud cheers of triumph. The victory was bittersweet. For Bonner, the joy of winning was overshadowed by the loss of so many people he had cared about. His mind drifted back to the battles they had fought, the sacrifices they had made, and the heroes who had given their lives for the cause. His heart ached with the memory of Miles, who had died in the heat of battle, his sacrifice still fresh in Bonner's mind. Bonner. A voice interrupted his thoughts. It was Sarah, the leader of the remaining human forces, and one of his most trusted allies. She approached him cautiously, as if unsure of how to speak. "We've done it. We've won. But at what cost?" Bonner met her gaze, his eyes filled with a mix of sorrow and determination. "We didn't have a choice," he said softly. "We fought because we had to. We fought for Earth, for humanity. But I won't forget those we lost, Sarah. Not ever." Sarah nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Neither will I." The aftermath of the battle had been chaotic. The few remaining human survivors had gathered in the wreckage of their military base, tending to the wounded and mourning the dead. The alien forces had retreated, but their defeat didn't erase the damage they had caused. Major cities were in ruins, the planet was scared by the bombardments, and there was still much work to be done. Humanity had won, but the fight for survival was not over. Now they had to rebuild, not just their cities, but their sense of self. As Bonner walked through the remnants of the base, he couldn't help but notice how different things felt now. Before the invasion, Earth had been a planet of quiet ambition, caught up in the day-to-day struggles of life. Now, it felt like a place that had been forged in fire. Humanity had been tested like never before, and they had emerged stronger, more determined, and more united. Bonner realized something profound. They had not just survived. They had transformed. The rest of the galaxy had been watching. The Vorgathians' defeat wasn't just a victory for Earth. It was a message to every species in the universe. The humans, once considered weak, now stood as equals to the greatest powers in the galaxy. Earth had proven that humanity, though outmatched technologically, had the will to fight against even the most advanced species. The victory was a declaration. Humans were not the underdogs anymore. They had proven themselves as fierce fighters, and in time, the universe would come to understand just how strong they could be. Bonner, now a hero, found himself standing before a small group of survivors. They were the heart of the human resistance, the ones who had fought alongside him through every battle. They had made it through the worst, and now they looked to him for guidance. The war was over, but the challenges were far from finished. The rebuilding of Earth would take time, and humanity would need to unite if they were to restore their home to its former glory. But beyond that, they now had a larger purpose. "We've proven that we are not just survivors," Bonner said to the group, his voice carrying the weight of all that had transpired. "We are fighters. We fought back against the odds, against the greatest threat our world has ever known. And we won. But that victory is not just about us. It's about every species that has suffered under the tyranny of a superior force. It's about showing the universe that Earth is no longer a place to be ignored. We will never be vulnerable again. His words struck a chord with everyone who had been there with him. They were no longer just fighting for their survival. They were fighting for the future, not just of Earth, but of every species in the galaxy that had ever been oppressed. Bonner's speech resonated deeply within the hearts of his comrades. They had not just defeated the Forgathians, they had become something more. They had become symbols of hope, of resistance, and of resilience. The universe now knew the truth. Humanity had arrived. They were no longer the weak underdogs. They had proven that they were capable of defeating an alien species that had once seemed unstoppable. The humans had the strength to face any challenge, no matter how great. No longer would they cower in fear. The universe would never forget what had happened on Earth. But even with this newfound strength, Bonner knew that the true battle had just begun. The aliens were not the only ones to fear. There were other threats out there, other forces who might look to conquer Earth, to push humanity back into the shadows. But Bonner also knew that humanity was ready. They had learned from their mistakes, and they had the will to face whatever came next. As the sun set on Earth, casting a golden glow over the ruins of the cities and the fields still scared by battle, Bonner stood in silence. The future was uncertain, but the humans had proven something undeniable. They were a force to be reckoned with. The dawn of a new era had begun, and it was humanity's time to rise. "We will rebuild," Bonner whispered to himself, as if speaking to the planet itself. "And we will make sure that no species, no matter how powerful, ever threatens us again. The universe will know our name. We are the apex predators now." And with that, humanity's journey into the stars began. The remnants of Earth's once fragile civilization would become the foundation of something greater. A new chapter had started, and this time, the humans would write their own story, not as victims, but as the victors. The universe would learn to fear humanity's resolve. It had seen what Earth was capable of, and it would never forget. The future was wide open, filled with possibility, and humanity was ready to take it all.